peace in our hearts, peace in our homes, peace in our home country, Nigeria. This we ask through your Son, who lives and reigns in the unity of the Holy Spirit, one God, forever and ever. Amen. Please be seated.
Thank you so much for the introduction, and I would like to, share how much I'm privileged to be here, speaking to my fellow Nigerians. I didn't know I was Nigerian until my friend, Dr. Williams, he called me Emile. That's how I knew that I was from Yoruba 100%. You didn't get it. Emile Kwe, but as my brother Jimmy Katuta said, we are first of all African, before being Nigerian, Zambian, Kenyan. You know how you grow up, you feel like, oh, I'm from Ethiopia, yeah. And then my dad, for some reason, he kind of liked a French, or I don't know why, he gave me a French first name, Emile. But as of 5 weeks ago, when we were working on a different program with the ambassador of the African Union, and he called me Emile, Dr. Emile, and I said, "Are you trying to say Emily or he said Emile?" And I said, "Okay, but why?" He said, "But are you not Yoruba?" I said, "Oh, I didn't know." All right, so I want to say thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be here. As you can tell, I'm from the Yoruba community. I may not know how to speak Yoruba for now, but Baweni. Igbo Kwenu. Because Emile is Yoruba, Kwe is Igbo. So there is no better Nigerian now in this house like myself. Okay, I'm bringing both together. I say this to say that when you bring the Igbo, the Yoruba, the Hausa, the Zambian, the Nigerian, the Kenyan, and then you bring a Chinese person and say, can you identify, what do you think a Chinese will say? You only see black people. It doesn't matter whether you are born in America, you speak English, with the American accent, or you speak Spanish or Italian. It doesn't matter what religion you even practice. The black community is the black community. We are the one who set differences. We try to divide our communities. We try to make other communities feel like we are better than them. But in the eyes of other communities, whether they are European American, Chinese American, or Indian American, they only see black people. Now the thing is this, when you look at what America is today, the strength of the United States, whether it's the economy or every other aspect, you may not see the contribution of the black community, and I'm using that word loosely. It's not to talk about race, but it's to talk about how America is defined as a melting pot, not melted. It's still melting. Now, if it is melting, that means you can distinguish the different communities that make America great. Now, when you look at the strength and how they value the contribution of other communities in the United States, black community usually is not as valued, or valued as to the amount of to our contribution to the strength of this country. Now, is it really because it's race? Is it because we are black race or black color? Is it because the system really hates us? Or is it because we are so much focusing on internal divisions? I'm Nigerian, I'm Zambian, I'm Congolese. In as much as you will tell, Germans speak German, French speak French, Russians speak Russians. So if you are a Nigerian, do you speak Nigerian? Because you are not a Nigerian, you are not a Zambian, you are not a Congolese, you are not African American, you are not Caribbean. We are all blacks, at least how people who observe us call us, even though we never identify ourselves as black people. Now, looking from that, we look and said, why is it that every single time they talk about the strength of the United States, we are not considered, we are not taken into consideration? We study the US economy and other economies in the world. We realize that every single community in the United States, whether you talk about the Irish Americans, which we respect, obviously, the Jewish American, the Italian American, and all different communities that make the American culture, they have a system or a support system. They have banks, then they have grocery stores, they have different type of businesses, and they create employment. But when you talk about the black community, the tendency is, oh, they are involved in crime. They can't afford to do anything. And I was so honored to be introduced to the Attorney General here, and I looked at, and then I said, but these are members of our community that don't receive the recognition. But when you talk about black, all they see is crime. So we decided to say, we will not reinvent the wheel. We will look at what other communities are doing that's taking them to the level where they can sit at the table of decisions. We will just copy and replicate. So we have put in the pipeline many type of companies, grocery stores, restaurant, airline companies, manufacturing companies, different type of companies. And then we said, do we go to a Chinese American bank and ask for a loan so we can open a restaurant to compete with the Chinese restaurant? Would they give us that loan? The answer is no. It's not because they hate us. It's they want to make sure that the Chinese American continue to shine better. You do the same with the Irish American. They are protective of their interests. So we said, that's okay. This is the country where, if it doesn't happen here, I don't think it can happen anywhere else. So we worked with the government and said, our community needs to start giving back to the community as well. We would like to put in place a financial institution that will help us open additional businesses so we can create more jobs and not just make America great, but make it greater. Because The strength of America would be different when 45 million black people in the United States are also contributing to the economy. So we were approved to have our credit union that will be focusing on members of our community. I thought you would be happy to hear that. This credit union is owned and operated by us. It's set to launch by March 2020. We are at the point where we are bringing on board members. Board members are those who will be reviewing all loans applications based on the NCUA, as you will go online and see. Board members will have, for example, the finance committee, 5 to 7 people. They will be reviewing all the financial statements. We'll have a credit committee, 5 to 7 people. They will review all loan applications that come through the system. But they need to be trained, they need to be put in place before the credit union is launched. That's the reason why the council sent me here on mission to say, thanks to Mr. Jimmy Katuta, who introduced me here, we will come and reach out to the people, not just in Las Vegas, but in the entire state of Nevada. How was it going to be possible without someone starting that here? And I want to use this opportunity to introduce Mr. Jimmy Katuta. Please. He is the chair of this initiative in the state of Nevada. And as such, we are looking forward to building a team that will be working with him to making sure that we remain compliant. The Attorney General can tell you more about the law, okay? But we will remain compliant with every single policy. We have to, for those of us who already know, our community has to do twice as much. It's not racism. It's just that some few people want to use the system to prevent us from getting to where they are. America is not against its own people. But some few people who have sat at a certain level, they don't want others to get there. So we are here to pass the message to our fellow members of the community from the Nigerian Association. I'm no longer saying you are Nigerian, but our same people, the African from the Nigerian community, to join us and making sure that our Nigerian community is represented on the board. You all may not sit on the board, you all may as well decide to sit on the board because the state of Nevada is huge and it depends on you. We have invested a lot of money in it in such a way that we don't ask you to pay a dime to join the board. We only need you to come with the skills that you have, the leadership skills that you have, the mentorship skills that you have, because the success of a business is not just into how much money it's making currently, it's guaranteeing the continuity of the business after those who are currently making it successful retire from office. And that's the reason why we are here to give everybody here the opportunity to join the board so that our children who are being born here can see that we have something they can look up to. How many of us have heard of someone retiring and saying, my son, I'm about to retire from this job. I will talk to my manager so you can take over my position. How many of us can do? Good. So that means we've got to start thinking about something that we can leave behind as an inheritance. And that's why we are here to say, join us. We would like to have a branch here in Las Vegas. And now speaking about Nigeria, not Nigerians, there's no better place to start than here. And that's why the president, the chair of the organization in the state of Nevada said, it cannot start, not even in the Zambian community. Because we've got to acknowledge the giant of the continent. So if you don't take your rightful place, you will not have to say we didn't come to speak to you. That we didn't come to give give you the honor that is yours. It's not because you are from Nigeria, no. It's because Nigeria is known as a place, as a state, where you have over 200 million people. So we've got to give respect to Nigeria. So give it up to Nigeria. So as I'm closing, I was scheduled to speak for 15 minutes, but I'm trying to wrap it up because there's really not much to say. It's just to call you to do what you have always been trying to do. To do something that will bring change in our community. To do something that will be inspiring to the next generation. To do something that by the time you are retiring, you are happy. You look at yourself, you said, I've been part of this organization that will be transforming lives, creating business opportunities, giving loans to members of our community who need a car at a lower interest rate. All of us here at least are driving a car. Many of us have already paid off those cars. But how about those whose cars are being refinanced or are being financed at 5%? Our credit union can do it at 2% and put more money into the community. Isn't that a good thing? How about making it possible for those who are being turned down when they go and apply for a loan, and then the bank will tell you, you have been denied the loan because you don't have this paperwork. But our credit union will not say you have been denied because the psychological effect of hearing denial is hurtful. What we will do is, you will be approved if you bring this other paperwork. You will be approved if you can show that you can make this payment. That's how we want to look, so we can bring hope and get people to start businesses, create jobs, so we can all, as black people, whether you are from Nigeria, whether you're from Kenya or Africa or the Caribbean, it doesn't matter where you come from, that we will all contribute, bring our efforts together, making sure that we work not just to make America great, but making America great again. I would like to present the structure in 1 minute. In the state of Minnesota, the chair is from Nigeria. And the way we have structured it, we only have one chair per community, just for you to know that it's an all-black thing. I will be traveling to Chicago tonight, because the chair of Chicago is also African American, and I'm using the word loosely so you know the community, but we are all one. They are organizing similar event for the African American and the African and all those who are there in Chicago to say, let's come and have our own physical branch here. Because by working hand in hand, we will put in place a support system that will make sure that our children get less and less involved in crime, because there will be opportunity for them to work, for them to be engaged, for them to be educated, even on finance, on how to save money. And then we'll make life not just easier for the parents, but make it even easier for the justice system, and the Attorney General can tell you how many cases they face. But if we can help create jobs and reduce the crime level, wouldn't it be a great thing to make America even greater? That's what I'm here to do, and that's what I'm here to communicate to everybody. And I hope that I was able to let you know that we need to work hand in hand so we can make things happen. Thank you so much for listening. God bless you.
Emile, Goodwin, whichever one, it's all good. He said something about having a board. You know, when you have a board, you have to have board members. There might be Mr. Boardman in a boardroom. I hope the meeting will not be boring. Thank you. What he has just said, we haven't had it before. The people that are most feared in this country are the who? The Jews, right? Are they not? They own most of the financial products. They don't show their faces in many places, but they get you, they hit you where it hurts in the groin. You know, they hit where it hurts. You make an advertisement against them, You say something, you're a comedian, you say something against them, the next day they start pulling adverts from your program. And you wonder how. Finance is a powerful thing. So what my brother just said, we really have to think about it seriously. And those of you who keep your money under your mattress or under your pillow, please put it in a credit union and let it work for you and for all of us. Is that your... Okay. Okay, well, yeah, so he just told me that the president of NALV is gonna be a board member. Please, let's give it up for our president. All right, now we've had the financial side. Where this time last year we had the then candidate. He was then a candidate. And he told us that if it happens for him, he won't forget us. As you all know, I won't say any name yet, because somebody greater than I am is going to introduce him. But I remember that day he told us he was 25% Nigerian, 25% Ghanaian, and the rest is from the rest. Okay? So I'll call on my brother, my dear friend, Dr. Jerome Wokike, to introduce our next guest, Dr. Wokike.
Thank you very much. So I stand before you on this Independence Day to introduce some, actually one of us, like Anselm said, but there's some other person here too that I like to introduce. So as Emil was talking, he talked about the giant. He did use the word giant. That giant has been sleeping. That giant has been sleeping. That giant is about a middle age now, but still sleeping. But the sons and daughters of this giant, they're not sleeping. Across the world, the seas and the deserts, the giants, children, they're very tenacious. They're daring, they don't give up. They are in every nook and corner, in every industry. So one of the sons and daughters of this giant, he's very quiet. You don't know he is here. He is the leader, the head of the Civil Rights Division in the Nevada Department of Transportation. So if you're connected, if you're affiliated with the DOT, Nevada Department of Transportation, and you feel your civil rights has been trampled upon, now you have somebody to fight for you. He is Attorney Sonny Bryan. Sonny, please, can you just stand up so that people know who you are? Please give up a hand of applause. So these sons and daughters of this guy, they're not sleeping. They work hard. So let me take you to, like Anselm said, about this time last year, he came to us. We pledged our support. We pledged our prayers from the motherland, from the fatherland. The spirits were with him. So he won. So he told me he would never forget us. He is one of the sons and daughters of this great giant. So he's come here today to tell us how he's been doing. I must tell you, I do follow him on Facebook. on the TV. I know he's doing a great job for the families in this great state of Nevada. So follow him on the Facebook, YouTube, whatever. You see he's doing a great job. So Aaron Ford is our AG. I welcome him. Please give me a hand of applause.
Thank you, Dr. Wakiki, for the introduction. I really appreciate it. Good evening, everybody. Wait a minute. Y'all was louder for Mr. Emile. Good evening, everybody. All right. Thank you so much again for having me out. You're not going to believe me when I say this, but the truth is, I can't speak long tonight because I actually do have to leave. My son is a freshman in high school and he's having his very first homecoming tonight. I'm supposed to be picking him up at 10 o'clock. I'm gonna be late. Don't tell my wife, she's gonna be upset with me. But I wanted to come out tonight and say hello to everyone, and first off, wish everyone a happy Independence Day to Nigeria. Happy Independence Day. Happy Independence Day. And as I said last year when I came for the first time, I needed your support. I wanted to be able to come and talk to you, to rely upon you, and I told you that I would not forget you and that I would not abandon you if I were to win. And lo and behold, I have actually won this race and I'm your Attorney General. The MC said that I share with you my ancestry, and I'm going to do that again. I keep getting updates from 23andMe about what my actual ancestry is, and I'm going to share it because they updated it for me. But Emile, you talked about the fact that we're all black in the eyes of some people. We're all black. And that's been my experience as well. And in fact, you probably remember a recent controversy where the leader of this particular country told 4 congresswomen to go back where they came from. Y'all know what I'm talking about? He told some congresswomen to go back where they came from, one of which was a Somali refugee, and the other 3 were all American. And I was astounded, because I've been told also to go back where I came from. And now, for me, that meant Dallas, Texas. That's not what they were talking about, though. All they see is black, Emile. They were telling me to go back to Africa. And I envy you. Because you talked about Yoruba and Igbo and Hausa and the other tribes. You talked about the Congolese, the Zambians, and I have no clue. I had no clue where I came from. None whatsoever. I knew that my ancestors had been slaves. I knew that they had come from the shores of West Africa. And so fortunately, I was able to use Ancestry.com and 23andMe, and now it tells me that I am 30.8% Nigerian. It also tells me that I'm 17.9% Ghanaian. That's what it tells me. And I'm actually going to be visiting, I told my friends, I'm going to be visiting Ghana in March the 2nd through the 9th. I'll be there for the Ghanaian Independence Celebration. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I just want to say to you all, thank you so much. You contribute so much to our society, to our state, to our city, to our nation, to the world. Anybody who knows history, anybody who wants to learn history, will learn about you. Will learn about the cradle of our civilization. Will learn about what being black really means. They will know that the reasons why they have the abilities that they have today originate from people in this very room. And I'm proud to be a son of the motherland. The fatherland, whatever you call it. And I just want to say again, thank you so much for welcoming me, for supporting me, for providing me the backbone that I needed. Because this time last year, we were 3 weeks from the election. You remember what they were doing to me? They were talking bad about me. They were lying on me. They were messing with my wife and messing with my kids. They had us hurt. We were very concerned and I was stressed out. 3 weeks later, we won this election at 2:30 in the morning. It was kind of early in the morning. But here we are now, and I'm so grateful for you. So thank y'all for having me out. Great to see you, and I'll see you at the next Independence Day.
We are proud to be Nigerians. Can we give applause to Nigerians? We're also proud to be African Americans. Can we give applause to that? And most of all, we are proud to be black. Let's give proud to that. I'm going to make it very short. My wife is not here today. She's in New York with my daughter, who is in Pace University in Manhattan, New York. This weekend is a family weekend. And I was supposed to be there, but as a Nigerian, I had to be here. All I want to say is simple. We have to know who we are, right? Whatever you know that divides us, we need to stop it. The lifespan of all of us is anywhere from 80 to 100 years, and you're gone. And for that reason, you have 100 years to find who you are. You don't want to be somebody else, do you? You want to be yourself and who God made you to be. And be proud of that. This is Nigerian independence. And that's what we're celebrating today. We should not forget that. In 1960, there was a guy, a man, called Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. Can we clap for him, please? He's a Nigerian. Most of us got visa to come to America, to Europe, to Russia. Wasn't there, but I was told that somehow he found himself and managed to get into a ship coming to America. He wasn't kidnapped like most of us were. He wasn't sold or taken against our will to come to the shore. The man was working in a ship deck, and managed to come to this US. Why he was in US? Because we're celebrating Independence Day, right? What does that mean to us? That means self-identity. Who we are as human beings. And he managed to get here, hiding behind the ship. And while he got here, he managed to go to school in America. I was even told that he formed and joined a soccer team. Please, if my history is not right, forgive me. I was even told that he went to Columbia University. That was during the civil rights going on in this country. One thing that perturbs me in life is for another man to look at us and think they're better than us. Or somehow God created us to be inferior. Are we inferior? That bothers me. We are created equal. After all, if God wanted to tell us that we're inferior or there is a superior race, then it would have been Chinese. Because they're the most populated on the face of the earth. Isn't that true? So if you think that God said that this is the people I love most, so I'm going to populate the face of the earth with this race, then it would have been Chinese. Because they're most populated everywhere, even in Africa. So when we know that wasn't true, then that means there's no superior race. Do you understand that? So if Nnamdi Azikiwe came to America, studied, and realized the quality of creation, and then went home and said, you people need to go. It's time that we rule ourselves. Started in 1958, 59 when I was born. we are given the same brain as everybody else, so we don't want you to be telling us how to live. At that point, with his education from America and emancipation, so he was able to do what? Get us independence in 1960. They give him an applause, please. Another thing, Nkrumah for the Ghanaians, right, doctor? Who rose up one day and said, one of the best things he did is when he danced with the Queen of England. You understand? At that point, it was a taboo to dance with the Queen of England. Didn't he dance with the Queen of England? He got up and danced with the Queen of England on his own turf. And Ghana was one of the, or is, and still is, the flag bearer of self or independence, whatever you want to call it. Can we ever forget Nkrumah? He said, I am a man with all the thinking faculties. And it was the first African country to win independence. Is who? Ghana. Let's think about Ethiopia. Was Ethiopia ever colonized? Was Ethiopia ever colonized? No. Let's give applause to Haile Selassie. If you go into Nigeria now, one of the flights you take is Ethiopian Airlines. You understand? You will take Ethiopian Airlines to go to Nigeria. When you get to Addis Ababa, you will see what you see in New York. They have over 1,000 airplanes going to all places, even in my hometown, where I live in Enugu. You don't have to fly all the way to Lagos. You just land in Enugu and just take about 30 minutes drive to wherever you live over there. Anyway, the reason I'm saying this, what is it that makes us not compete with all tenacity in every aspect of life? We don't want people to tell us who we are. or what we should do. Because of the quality of the quality of creation that we have. Who is going to tell us that we are less than anybody else? That's why I gave you that Chinese history. So as we celebrated independence, we thank God that we're coming to that age where a black man can be a governor or president of America. We know West Virginia or Virginia when we had a governor that is black. And then we had a leader of the world who is Obama. For that reason, I think the time has come for us to walk proud, stand proud, and do not let anybody tell you who you are or that you're inferior. Forget about our individual differences. We have to fight racism wherever it stands. I really applaud my brother that came in here and talked, who was the chairman of a credit union. And today, we have an Attorney General who is African American of Nigerian and Ghanaian descent. Let's clap for that. I wanted him to stay so that I can tell him how proud I am of him. But let me tell you one thing else. For some of us that are Christians, he said, everybody is given a talent, isn't it? You need to find out what your talent is. What is your talent? Nobody's God, is it? One of the reasons I have decided to go back home and run for the governor of Anambra State is not because I want to be popular. Are we clear? It's not popularity. You need to find out what your talent is so that the 100 years you're given, you find out whether it is to raise somebody. Dr. Obi, come here, please, quickly. And doctor, I'm sorry, this is very important. I'm done in a few minutes. Come over here. Quickly, quickly, so I can hang this phone. Come on. This is Dr. Obi. Can you all give me my applause, please? Hillary Clinton said the world is a village, isn't it? The world is a village. And nobody is perfect. This young man came from our community. I didn't know. He finished high school and came to US. And then I went home, his father met me and said, my son is in the US. I came over here, I called him up, and I said, come over. He stayed a summer with me. I asked him, what are you doing? He said, I'm doing computer science. I said, computer what? Computer what? He said, well, uncle, what should I do? I said, well, you're going to medical school. He said, well, I cannot finish the school because I'm on scholarship. I said, to hell with the scholarship. So I'm going to pay for that school right now. I end up paying for that, and he finished with a degree in what? Biology. What? Biology. Biology. And after that, I said, young man, the equality is your talent, and you have to be in those professions that people can't judge you by your color. You come out of the computer science, I think average white man or Indian or Japanese will get the job first before you. This one that I know is equality, nobody's going to IQ about it. You go into medical school. But you have to be decorated. Since I did doctorate degree in pharmacy and pharmacology, you have to go to something else. And where did you go?
Nursing school.
He went to nursing school. After nursing school, he went to medical school. I said, well, there's something I know better. Before you go anywhere, you're going to do what?
Anesthesiology.
Anesthesiology. And then he went to anesthesiology. And where did you go? Vanderbilt. You got to go to Ivy League. You understand? After that, you got to do fellowship in what? Pain management. Okay? And then, after he finished pain management, where do you got to go?
Las Vegas Medical Institute.
Las Vegas Medical Institute. Okay? I have doctors from all walks of life working for me. Chinese, Indian, Pakistanis, white, black, every race works for me. That's the talent God gave us. But today, and in the spirit of independence and equality of creation, I will clear. We did something that nobody else is doing in Nevada today. We did something that nobody else probably not doing in US. How many cases?
6.
6 of them. They call it SI joint fusion. You be in Facebook. The reason I'm saying this is because we are equal to creation. That should make us proud. That should make us who we are. At this point, happy 59th birthday, Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you. Please give him a round of applause and his proteges.
It's Cameroon. To the west, Benin. To the south, we have the Atlantic Ocean. To the north, we have Niger. So the country is actually well protected. Prior to the independence of Nigeria, that was 1960. If I could just back off a little bit. Nigeria was ready for independence, or some parts of Nigeria was ready for independence by 1957. Some parts were not. So because of that, it was agreed to wait another 3 years in the spirit of oneness, so the independence was delayed. As with any new nation, optimism about the future was accompanied with trepidation, with some fear. But the leaders marched on. At that time, the country was divided into 3 major regions: the North, the East, and the West. In time, Midwest came to be. It was carved out of West. Each region was governed by a premier with his legislature. The country had a prime minister from the North, a ceremonial president from the East, a minister of finance from the West. In terms of population census has always been a problem for many countries, and Nigeria was no different. It remains even today. But that time, the North, or the whole Nigeria, the population was between 63 million and 66 million. Today, Nigerian population is estimated at between 180 and 200 million. The world over, Nigeria has the largest number of black people, followed by Brazil today. In terms of linguistic differences, it was written that Nigeria had over 258 linguistic different languages. In the north, we had the Hausas with about 18%, and the Fulanis about 9.9%. There were smaller entities also, nonetheless very, very important too. In the east, the predominant group was the Igbos and the Yorubas. Just as in the north, there were many small but nonetheless very important groupings. It was the census, the issue of census remained a problem. It was the census that created crisis in Nigeria that led ultimately to military intervention into the country's body politic, which in time led to the Civil War that lasted from 1967 to 1970. Over 1 million people were slaughtered. After the Civil War, or during the Civil War, the two regions were again further divided into states as a win-the-war strategy. Now we have about 36 states in the country. How about the economic outlook? You cannot tell an economist to talk and he will not talk about economics. Nigeria is known today for oil production, crude oil production. When the companies had operated for decades prior to independence, it became general knowledge that Nigeria had oil in the 50s. Agricultural pursuit and production were the mainstay of Nigerian economy prior to oil. Today, crude oil is the main source of our revenue. It is not the largest sector, but it's the main source of revenue. The instability of the commodity prices, of which crude oil is part of, has created instability in our budgetary systems. But the future is bright for the country. According to the World Bank, Nigeria's future is very bright if it moves to diversify its development and introduce greater efficiency in public finance. While the country's external balance remains uncertain, when we talk about external balance in economics, we're talking about trade and finances for the trade. While that remains uncertain, we tried the depreciation of the currency. I know when it used to be that you walk into a bank in the United States with a naira and they're giving $3. I don't want to age myself, but I just want to have an idea. Today, it's about $3.55 locally here. $1 will get 355 naira. And we ask the question, what happened? Services is the largest sector of Nigerian economy. That accounts for about 50% of all the production in Nigeria. Services. Most people think it's oil. I'll give you oil in a minute. One of the fastest growing segments of the services are information and communication, which together account for about 10%. Agriculture was the biggest sector in the past, but now constitutes about 23%. Crude oil and natural gas constitute only 11% of Nigerian GDP, Nigerian total output. However, they are the main export for the country. Now, Nigeria is diversifying. Total GDP, the value, if you put money, trade value, without inflation on the output of the country, today it stands about $510 billion. By 2030, it is estimated that it's going to be about $1.6 trillion without inflation. Crude oil currently brings to Nigeria, in terms of export, about $35 billion annually. Petroleum and gas, about $6.47 billion. Many people don't know Nigeria also exports finished petroleum, refined petroleum. it brings about 1 billion. Cocoa brings about $700 million. In terms of scale, in terms of measure, when you compare Nigeria to other countries around the world, Nigeria is the 31st largest economy in the whole world. Now, I've talked about Nigeria a little bit. How about Nigerians in diaspora? Now, there are two ways we could look at it. I could look at it on a broad sense, or I could look at it on a micro level. Let me give you some information in the event that you don't know. I believe you do know. Now, how many of you have gone to Gatwick Airport in England? By show of hand. Okay, you have Heathrow and you have Gatwick. Now, who owns Gatwick Airport today? Hello? Who owns Gatwick Airport today? A Nigerian. Now, it does not end there. Mr. Ogunlesi owns Gatwick Airport. He owns other airports and giving away some, including in Greece. Now, how many of you have any digital equipment? Watch, computer, by show of hand. How many of you? I guess we all do. Now, any digital equipment you have has copper in it. And the Nigerian, Dr. Sikwe Ruzo, has over 300 patents worldwide in semiconductor. If I knew ahead of time, I could have invited him. He's a very close friend. He is considered to be the father of semiconductor. Most people don't know it. Sometimes he will go to a conference and they've seen the names, they've seen the publications, and then he will show up, this black guy. Many people are stuck. That's the way it should be. Now, again, I'm continuing with Nigerians in diaspora. Currently, 25% or 29% of Nigerian Americans over the age of 25 hold a graduate degree, compared to 11% for the overall US population. Over 376,000 Nigerian American population has also produced some of the first in America. A Nigerian who is a medical doctor, a physician with various specialties, remove the baby from the womb before the baby comes to town, did surgery, return the baby into the womb for full gestation. Has never happened before. Trained where? In Nigeria. Dr. Bennett Omalo, many of you may not know him, but you may have seen the movie Concussion, was the first to discover and publish the chronic traumatic brain injury on football players. Actually, he was here in Las Vegas. He did part of his internship here in Vegas. So you see Nigerians all over the place. First African woman to head a television station in the US, in Nigeria. Omona, the first black woman elected to the Harvard Law Review last year in Nigeria. We have Nigerians all over various sections of this country. They're moving into entrepreneurship, one of whom spoke, and many Nigerians here in this community have businesses. I don't like to call because when you call and then you start leaving out some names, it becomes a problem. But many Nigerians here are entrepreneurs also. What are some of the takeaways from our conversation, not just mine, but from everything that we have said? One of the takeaways is that money is neutral. Money is not the issue. Ideas are the issue. Money is neutral, what matters is what is done with it. If you do not pass the knowledge you have, if you do not pass the knowledge you have to someone else, no one will ever know that you have been here. One of my favorite authors, Chinua Achebe, who could have actually received the Nobel Prize, but was denied him. And do you know why he was denied the Nobel Prize? Nobody will say it. Because Chinua Achebe based his writing on the Igbo culture and said that the Igbo experience was relevant to the global community. Others will write and say that the European experience is relevant to every other community. He said the opposite. And when I read that, I said this guy will never get a Nobel Prize. He said, until lions, please listen, until lions produce their own historians, the hunter will always talk about their bravery. We're going to talk how you defeated the lion. Until the lions are able to bring their own historians, the hunter will always be talking about how brave he was. Finally, I'll leave with you this. As a nation, just as in a nation, the power to transform is within you. Now, if you have a cell phone and have a Google on it, some people call us, classify Nigeria as one of edge country. Or if you have a phone with you, see if you could Google a name, INNOSON, Motors. See if you could see something there. You are going to see locally made in Nigeria vehicles. My feeling about private vehicles is irrelevant. Therefore, I'm going to say mass transportation would be a good idea. But if you Google that, you're going to see all forms of vehicles that if you're in Nigeria or if you're in any of the West African countries, you don't need to import cars from Germany, from Europe. You get solid vehicles. And also, servicing is closer. But you find some time, Google that if you couldn't do that now. So I will say to you, the power to change yourself is within you. Change your thinking, change the way you think, and you change your life. You have the opportunity, but what you make of it is yours. While life is a beautiful gift, some will waste theirs in fraud and deceit. And no amount of money will change such people. Be bold, not arrogant. Eschew arrogance. It's important for you to be bold. God has given that to you. It is terrible for you to be arrogant, because if you're arrogant, you cannot learn. So be bold, but humble. I urge you all, fellow travelers, because that's the job, we're all travelers, fellow travelers, to establish good networks with good people and live a fruitful and useful life worthy of emulation. It is better to light a candle than to cross the darkness. At the end of the day, everything you have acquired, I'm going to shock you. At the end of the day, everything you have acquired, your wealth, your knowledge is for someone else. Leave a good legacy. I thank you for the opportunity to chat with you.
Please, standing ovation for my brother here. Thank you. Keep it going, 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 keep it going. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. KD. Thank you, DJ KD.
DJ. Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to the party at 2G. Las Vegas, what's up? Run it down for me, run it down for me, run it down for me, run it down for me. See, hey, what a beautiful ladies in Las Vegas. Well, let's go. Yes, I'm a G, baby, let's go. Couple cheese in the escrow, best flow, and I bang in the east and the west coast. Oh yeah, let's go. I like the way you roll and I give me shit. Las Vegas, what's up? Hey, all the beautiful ladies in the building. How you doing, baby? Let's go. Yes, I'm a G, baby, let's go. I got a couple cheese up in escrow. Best flow, and I bang in the east and the west coast. Well, my beautiful ladies in the building that I want you to scream. All my beautiful ladies in the building, I want you to scream. For your cause, I'm gonna get right by you, baby. And your cause, I'm gonna get right by you, baby. This one's for my beautiful ladies. If you're feeling sexy in the building, I want you to scream and wave your hands like this. If you're feeling beautiful, hey, you want someone with your body, baby. See, you gonna kill somebody, baby. Making me want to, making me want, making me want, making me want. Spending mine, don't spending mine, spending mine, spending mine. She making me want to, making me want, making me want, making me want. She's on my girl, she's on mine, she's on mine. Ladies, I'm losing my mind out on the Jones Hill. See, someone tell me which kind tell me that's you. No one done ever trap me like she did. See, she made me start like I am on some wheel. She did you something, baby, you did you something. Tell me, the way you matter me, you be like you do something. Okay. She did you something, baby, you did you something. Tell me, the way you matter. Las Vegas, 2, 3, now sing. For your cause, I'm gonna get walk by, baby. And you boss, I'm gonna get walk by, baby. And the way you carry that body, baby. See, you gonna kill somebody, baby. Making me want to, making me want, making me want, making me want. Spending mine, don't spending mine, spending. Make me wanna spend all my money. Making me want to, making me want, making me want, making me want. She's on my girl, she's on mine, she's on mine. All my sexy girls, see, sexy pasta sister Rosie. Even her sister Rosie. I'm back inside like Amber Rosie. Put my body on the road. Temptation, no temptation. I dey fall for her incantation. She won't lock me for station. Oh, somebody help me. Temptation, no temptation. I dey fall for her incantation. She won't lock me for station. Oh, somebody help me. See, she dey use something. Baby, you dey use something. Tell me, the way you matter me, you like you do something. She did you something, baby, you did you something. Tell me, You will be my tummy, if you like to do something. Shit, for your comes the monkey. Las Vegas, all the beautiful ladies in the building. All the beautiful ladies in the building. I'm walking my baggy. Hey, see, I'm walking my baggy. She gon' kill somebody, baby. I'm walking my baggy. Make it want, make it want, make it want. Spend your mind, spend your mind, spend your mind, spend your mind. She making me want to, make it want, make it want, make it want. She's on my girl, she's on mine, she's on mine, she's mine. Hey. Las Vegas, I appreciate the time. Once again, if you're proud to be African, if you're proud to be Nigerian, I want you to scream in this building right now. If don't know, I go by the name of Capo 2G. Follow me on all my social media, Capo 2G. Google it, search it, CAPO, the number 2, the letter G. Appreciate the love, Las Vegas. Don't know.
Thank you, Capo 2J. Give him a round of applause, please.
So I'm here to entertain. I'm a hip hop artist, and I'm gonna do Habibi. That's how you say my love in Arabic. Alright? Turn up, DJ. Habibi. Turn the mic down a bit. And turn the music up. Yeah. Habibi. 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 I was in the place and you happy. Don't know where we going, but you all in. All in from the jump, yeah, you my queen. We don't talk much, you know what I mean. One look, one trick, you know how I feel. One kiss, one touch, nothing's more real. Come close to me, come ride with me. You can roll with me and get high with me. You gon' ride it that chick, you gon' ride it that chick. We gon' ride it that quick, we gon' ride it die. When it comes down to it, you can die for me. And when the flex comes to you can ride for me. Habibi, yeah. Habibi, oh, Habibi, 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 yeah. Habibi, oh, Habibi, 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 yeah. Toi et moi c'est comme la plage et le beau temps. Prends-moi moins l'aise qu'il n'y a pas contre le temps. Mon regard, un sourire, on se comprend. Je te tends la main, t'es toujours partante. Toujours prête à tout, t'es toujours contante. Sous le vent, sous la pluie, toujours présente. Toi et moi pour la vie, c'est pas je plaisante. Toi et moi pour la vie, non je plaisante. Bah là, t'es la plus belle. Voilà, j'essaie de fidèle. Oh là, je suis fou d'elle. Mon amour pour elle est éternel. Habibi, yeah. Habibi, oh, Habibi, 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 yeah. Habibi, oh, Habibi, Habibi. Come on, one more time. I'm quickly. When you see a nigga run quickly, you're my queen and I'm your king. And we gon' ride or die. Come on. Come quickly. When you see a nigga run quickly, you're my queen and I'm your king. And we gon' ride or die. Habibi, yeah. Habibi, oh, Habibi, 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 yeah. Habibi, oh, Habibi, 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 yeah. DJ, stop it real quick. Habibi, Habibi, you still with me, Habibi? Can I call you Habibi? Habibi, Habibi. Okay, I see some beautiful ladies tonight. I see lots of beautiful queens. And I want to do one more song. This is a rendition of a Bob Marley song. Everybody know this. No woman, no cry. Alright, drop that real quick. I hope you guys like this. This is Afro pop woman.
This goes out to all the ladies around the world.
And happy Independence Day to Nigeria.
But do things out to you. No woman no cry. Come on. No woman no cry. No woman no cry. No woman no cry. Every good man need a good woman. You hold me down, you a real woman. Every little kid need a real woman. Where would I be without you, woman? Look at my life, yeah, that's true, woman. Everything I love is in you, woman. When I look at life, I see you, woman. Where would we be without you, woman? Sangana way, Sangana way, Sangana way, baby, baby, Sangana way. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. And you gonna be alright. No woman to cry. Let's go sing it. No woman to cry. No woman to cry. No woman to cry. No, don't cry no more. I want you to dry your eyes. You're a beautiful queen. Don't cry. I remember when we used to sit in the front yard where we used to kiss. I remember you used to be my whip. Now you're my queen, baby. Let's go trip. Let's take a trip back to Africa. We're on the angel, call you Angela. I'm broke, I want an extra job. So let's go from Africa. Sangana way, Sangana way, Sangana way, baby, come Sangana way. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. And you gonna be alright. No woman no cry. No woman no cry. No woman no cry. No woman no cry. I hope you don't cry from this point forward. Don't let no man make you cry. You're a beautiful queen, and I want you to remember that. I go by the name of King Mula. I hope you are entertained tonight. DJ KD, thank you to Chris. Thank you to the Nigerian community. I really appreciate it.
Happy Nigerian Independence Day to you all. I hope you guys enjoy. If I tell you so, I love you. Mama, need my body, know you're on my baby. Fatty, Billy, and funny, I got you. Versace, Gucci, but you bet you, baby. Da-do, 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 da-da, for me. Da-do, 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 da-da-da. Da-do, 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 shaka-na-o-hey. Da-do, 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 da-da, for you, baby. Baby, I'm a and I'm a too. Sipping too. For your love, too. Big on after you. Say you feel me too. Cause I'm feeling it too. Take it here, break it. When I touch it here, take it. You can have this here, take it. No, I got this here. I love you, I love you. I love you, I love you, I love you. There's nothing above you. There's nothing above you, above you. Baby, it's here. Like your mini skirt's here. Ain't nobody plays here. If I tell you I love you, Mama need my butt, you know you're gonna go, baby. That is really I got you. Versace and Gucci, for your birthday, baby. Da-do, 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 da-da, for me. You're here, I need to do too. And I know I need to do. Say, baby, we do too. For your love, you do too. I got too good. Big old I need you. Say you do need to do. Cause I'm feeling what you do. You said nobody love me. But I never tell your story. Gotta be your man. Gotta be your man. Let me talk to you. Say everything, cause I'm feeling, but you know it's empty. Say you know I got this. I love you, I love you. I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. There's nothing above you. There's nothing above you, above you. Reject you, like nothing is script you. You're infected. If I tell you, say I love you. Mama need my baby, know your own, no baby. That you think I want you. Versace, Gucci, where you put your baby. That do, I'm sorry. That do, say it now. That do, shakara, that do, da-da-da-da for you, baby. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for having me. I've been out here in Independence Day. It was an honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Lady Sahara, Queen Sahara. She deserves. Please give her another round of applause. Let me know the thing that I didn't want to do yet. Yes. Are we having fun or what? Okay. Yeah, I'll request for one. Okay, Yoruba family. Igbo princess, please show up. Yoruba family, please put your hands together for them. Yeah, princess. Come on. And that be Yoruba music, Igbo princess. Modern Nigerian princess. Please enjoy this music. I love it. Modern Nigerian princess.
I need to come
Yeah.
this evening is to thank everybody here for coming. Of everything you could have been doing this evening, you chose to be here with us. I'm really grateful for that, so I thank you very, very much for coming. Thank you. We also want to thank the Amadis for donating the cake. Thank you very much for the cake. It's very beautiful. We're going to be cutting it briefly. And the people that really made this whole possible are the executives. We've all been working very hard, especially all of the people here on stage. I want to use this opportunity to thank every one of them, Princess Val, Bello, Tina, and Dr. Maria Mokike. We have really worked very hard, tirelessly. All of us here do whatever we can to make the organization move forward. We give it our extra best. So I would say thank you, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate all the hard work. We have how many more months left? Yes. So we do the best for the few months we have left. And we have Christmas party scheduled for December 14th. Christmas is usually our best event. It is scheduled for December 14th. It will be at Jasmine. It's a much bigger hall than here. So we look forward for that, and I hope all of you here will support us and show up. And last but not the least, extremely important, we wanted to have a special award for so many people. I don't want to name them now because I don't want to let the cat out of the bag in December. But Dr. Maduka may not be here, so may not be there. So because he's here now, I want to also use this opportunity to thank him for everything he has done for us, including donating $32,000. $32,000 is not a little money. It's a lot of money. So Dr. Maduka, on behalf of Nigerian Association of Las Vegas and all of us here, we thank you from the bottom of our heart. Thank you very much for the
That is my annual salary. Please give him another round of applause.